I'm Thomas Setzer, and this is a recap of my professional manager interview for PRT 266 with Dr. Lindsay. I chose Barry Faircloth to interview, and he is the Senior Associate Athletic Director at Wake Forest University. Uh, he has been in this position for 8 years, and his role is essentially running the revenue side of the athletic department at Wake. My first question to him was what a typical day at work consists of. And it so happened that the day that I called him was the day that they decided to retain head basketball coach Danny Manning, which had some mixed feedback from the Wake community, to say the least. So that was a pretty busy, hectic day for him. I was very appreciative that he took my call and got the interview through on that day. But no, that was definitely a tough day for him. But typically, any other day, typically he's just taking calls in meetings, in and out of campus, trying to build and sustain relationships with notable alumni and big donors and boosters that they've already established. But his role is just really to represent Wake in the best way possible, so that donors keep giving money and assisting Wake with all their needs. An example of this would be when Chris Paul last year hosted a golf tournament in Winston and actually decided to give 2.5 million back to the basketball program for upgraded facilities, new uniforms, just stuff down of that sort. But Barry is the one who hosted that event and really coordinated the whole thing, and a lot of that wouldn't be possible without him. So that was a big accomplishment for Barry in particular, and for the school. It was a landmark grant from Chris Paul that really meant a lot to him. But it's just an example of what Barry does on a typical day, which I find very interesting. But my second question to him was, how did he get his start, and did he know coming out of college that this would be the career for him? And the answer is no. He got a sales job at a computer company. He worked there for 8 years, and he really liked it because he said he liked working around people. I mean, that was just how he was. That's how he is. He enjoys getting out and interacting, not sitting behind a desk. And that's a very strong characteristic to have in the sport management field. And I think that translated well when he decided to join the Deacon Club after 10 years away from Wake Forest. He came back and decided he wanted to establish a family in Winston, where he's from. And he ended up getting a job at the Deacon Club and worked his way up through the ranks. Started in ticket sales, bottom of the totem pole, and worked his way all the way up to Senior Associate Athletic Director. And I respect him for it, and I think that's incredible of him. He's definitely dedicated to his job and everything that he does. And that plays into the next question that I asked was, what's the most challenging and rewarding part of his job? And he said it was one and the same, and that it's a lifestyle. He's become somewhat of a public figure in town, especially to Wake fans. But he relies heavily on his image. He really needs to establish a positive image on himself and the university and the community. So he's constantly at events, just always doing the right thing. And that's the type of person he is. And I think that's the type of person that needs to, fulfill that position at Wake. That's a great trait to have. And I think Wake really saw that in him and, took their chance on him. But I think it's paid off because he's definitely done a great job in, raising money and, just gaining, money from boosters and donors. And he's just he does everything the right way, and I picked that up on the phone call, and I've known him for years, as a family friend, but I've always noticed that about him. He's always doing the right thing. You'll never catch him um, on the wrong end of any situation, which is pretty incredible. I mean, it's tough. It's got to be tough for him, but he does a great. He makes it look easy. He makes it look easy, to say the least. But the next question for him was, "What are game days like?" And for him, it's their long days, but you can catch him on game days, typically, in luxury suites, up in the boxes or courtside. But he's really just catering to their big donors, and those are the people who are sitting courtside and own those luxury suites. So he's really just giving them anything that they need, making sure everything's going as planned, everything's going smoothly, and just trying to sustain those relationships that they've already established. And that's the biggest part of his job, and I think Barry does a great job of doing that. But that's all I had to really say. Those were all my questions to Barry, but he gave me great advice. He said, if you really want to get into this industry after school, he really recommended that I look into the Wolfpack Club and connect with Bobby Purcell. He thought that would be a great person to get my foot in the door with, and maybe just get my name out there and see what the Wolfpack Club has to offer. And I really was appreciative of that, and I'm definitely considering looking into that after this interview. And I'm really thankful for all the help that Barry gave, and I think he gave a great interview, and I'm glad that I chose him. But other than that, that's about all I have to say.